PV systems here in the Philippines. So siguro nandito kayo kasi bago sa inyo yung floating solar, or nandito kayo dahil you have a project and you want to be updated or to learn more about this system. So dito sa presentation na to, try nating sagutin if we are really ready and paano ba tayo maghahanda for this kind of projects in the Philippines. So lahat tayo pwede dito eh. Electrical practitioners, pwede tayo dito maging involved kahit sa ang stage pa ng development ng floating solar system natin. Okay, so hindi na natin yan i-introduce. Here, if you search in the internet, you will find many articles related to floating solar in the Philippines. Isa dyan yung, if familiar kayo, dito sa isang project, LLDA, meron doong testbed for a 10 kilowatt peak pilot project of a floating solar. Ito yun sa picture, itong floating solar na to. Yan. So meron tayong installed 10 kilowatt peak in Paras Rizal, yung location niya. And there's another one, proposed 100 megawatt floating solar for a 90 hectare fish pond in Cadiz, Negros Occidental Province. May mga nasa Negros dito. There's a proposed 100 megawatt peak na floating solar dyan sa lugar ninyo. And to add, of course, we have this Aboitiz Power project in Magat Dam. So meron na silang na-install doon na 200 kilowatt peak naman na project. So 200 kilowatt pilot project nila yan dito sa Philippines. And ito may nakita pa akong isang article. Ito yung installation nila. It's a different setup, different arrangement ng floating solar. Mamaya ipakita natin. But I also found an article about this proposed project in Tawi-Tawi. This project ni Aboitiz, meron din sila proposed for an island in Tawi-Tawi. And just few weeks ago, I was in this island for a solar project din. So parang nakikita natin ngayon na paunti-unti may mga nagiging development tayo. And for me, yung technology na to, kaabot sa Tawi-Tawi, parang malaki talaga yung gagampanan nito na role in the coming years for the development ng ating renewable energy in the Philippines. Kasi hanggang Tawi-Tawi meron siyang application, di ba? Kung pwede doon, of course, we know naman for Western Mindanao, medyo hindi yan dinadaanan ng bagyo. Kaya kita siguro nila na very viable yung paglalagay natin ng floating solar. And kita ko yung lugar, may mga areas naman talaga sila doon na hindi ganun kalalakas yung alon. Like for other areas in the Philippines na talagang mahirap maglagay ng floating solar. And just to add, yung pinaka-latest ngayon, meron tayong na-expect na project. It's 1.8 gigawatts of floating solar in the Philippines. Tapos na po yung competitive selection nito. This is in Laguna Lake. So may 3 companies yung nakakuha ng project. And it is expected to be completed within the next 2 to 4 years. So medyo malapit na yun. So dito yung ACEN and the other 2, Vena Energy. Sa kanila is 270 megawatt. Si Blue Leaf and Sun Asia, 6 contracts yung nakuha nila. 610.5 megawatts naman. Kaya ASEN yung pinakamalaki. 8 contracts yung nakuha niya. So napakalaki nung magiging development in the Philippines. 1.8 gigawatts of capacity ng floating solar for Laguna Lake. And there are many other areas in the Philippines na pwede pang paglagyan ng floating solar. Marami tayong mga potential locations, not only in Luzon, but Visayas and Mindanao na pwede talagang paglagyan. Umabot nga hanggang Tawi-Tawi may propose na floating solar project. So, in the next few years, nakikita natin na magiging maganda yung development ng floating solar sa Philippines. So, to define or give you an overview of what is a floating solar, although I know that you are all familiar with a solar PV system, and sinabi naman nating floating solar, nilalagay lang natin siya to a different location. But of course, dahil nga floating ito, there are many other considerations yung kailangan natin for this kind of system. So basically, ito yung ating floating solar. We have these PV modules installed on floats, pontoons. Since nasa body of water ito, so you need some anchoring, of course mooring lines, to make sure na hindi naman ito tatangayin ng alon, di ba? Or mapupunta sa ibang lugar. And of course, we have still this central inverter. This could be, there are installations na central inverter yung ginagamit. There are installations then na string inverters yung ginagamit. It will really depends on capacity, size of your project, yung location, and some other considerations. Kung gagamit ka ba ng central or string inverter. What else? So of course you have this, still need the substation, transformer to step up your power. Okay, so for the transformer, of course, mas gusto natin na ilagay ito sa lupa. Medyo mahirap kapag nasa floater din yung ating transformers. Di pa ba? Of course, the combiner box and lightning protection, especially here in the Philippines, napakadami talaga ng problem natin with lightning. You need to install lightning protection system for your floating solar. These are some of the major components of your floating solar. Wala namang masyadong pinagkaiba doon sa ating ground-mounted or roof-mounted na PV. Of course, you have these PV modules. You can use kung ano yung available or preferred ninyo na PV. Could be monocrystalline, polycrystalline, or any other types of PV modules. The inverters could be central or string. The floating structure, of course, for the floating structure, maraming design, technology na pwede ninyong i-adapt for your project. So siguro ang nakikita ko na lang dito is yung availability ng supply. Of course, here in the Philippines, wala naman tayong manufacturer nito. So you need to get it from outside the country. So isang issue dito is yung availability, yung material, saan ba manggagaling. And of course, yung technology, kung ano yung mas preferred ninyo. May pros and cons for different floating structures. So pagpipilian ng mabuti kung ano yung mas nababagay dun sa project. Anchoring and mooring system. So for the anchoring and mooring system, hindi naman to naiiba dun sa other offshore projects. For example, yung ating mga offshore na wind turbines, you will be using the same concept ng anchoring and mooring system. Cables and connecting wires, of course, since you need to use your cables to connect your panels to your transformer, inverter, it's very important to select the proper wire na gagamitin mo for your project. SCADA, of course, and the transformer. So these are the, I can say, the major components of a floating solar. So pansin nyo naman, hindi siya nalalayo na doon sa alam natin na ground-mounted or roof-mounted na solar system natin. So some example for the inverter. So we have here the central inverter. We have here a string inverter naman. Really up to you, to the designer, depending on the location, capacity. So if there is a chance to have a central inverter, pag central inverter kasi ang issue mo lang naman dito is mas malaki siya. So if you're putting this inverter on a floating platform, medyo mabigat ito. So if kaya naman na mailagay, ma-install, walang problema. But if yung stability ng water is an issue, kung makapag-lagay ng magandang foundation, masyadong malalim yung tubig, better maybe you use the string inverters para mas magaan. Tulad nito. For the floating structures, as I mentioned, there are many different types, technology na available ngayon. Marami ng suppliers for floating equipment pwedeng tingnan. So ito yung common na floating platform natin. And this one, ito yung kanina, yung sa Aboitiz, ganitong klase ng platform. Nasa ano siya, yung shape niya is naka-circle siya, unlike nitong common natin. So may advantages siya in terms of maintaining yung ating mga panels. Lumalakas yung alon, mas stable compared to this one. But of course, really depends on your project. Hindi naman kailangan na stick lang tayo sa isang technology. So dun sa, just to give you an idea for the standard that we are working on, hindi naman tayo nagbibigay ng specific technology na kailangang i-adapt, but some sort of a guidance to the developers, to all the stakeholders, kung ano ba yung dapat na i-consider, dapat nating tingnan bago tayo mag-develop ng floating solar sa Philippines. Wala talagang specific, no? It's up to you. As long as you comply or follow the guidelines para masigurado na maayos yung floating solar na i-develop or i-install ninyo. And just to inform you, aside from the typical, meron din tayong submerged floating solar. So, instead na nakalagay siya sa floater, ito, naka-submerge yung ating panel. So, yung panel dito is flexible. Pwede siyang sumunod dun sa wave. Mas if medyo maalon ng kaunti, mas magiging maganda yung installation na ganito, since sumusunod lang siya, no? Walang issue sa kanya, like for others if karon ng mga alon, so May video sana ako na ginagamit namin for our presentation from one of the installs here in the Philippines. Ang problema kasi sa Philippines, alam naman natin na madalas ang bagyo, malakas ang alon dito sa atin. So we need to study yung mga yon before we develop. Meron kaming video na ginagamit, kita talaga na yung effect ng waves doon sa floating solar, baka damaging talaga ng effect niya. If we have this kind of installation, much better. Pero sa Philippines, wala pa tayong ganito. This is something na pwede nating tignan if kaya talaga siya dito sa atin. Kung kaya ng cost, I think with this kind of technology, baka medyo mas mahal siya compared to the typical na floating solar. Okay, so dito naman, we have here some potential impact ng ating floating solar. So pag-usapan lang natin kasi for floating solar, since we are installing this system sa body of water, of course tayo may Clean Water Act tayo. There are many other environmental laws na dapat nating sundin and dapat nating siguraduhin na hindi natin maapektuhan yung ating environment with this project. So para lang once and for all, malinaw sa lahat ba yung impact nitong floating solar. So start with the first one, could reduce the photo generation of chemical compounds such as dissolved organic carbon. Reduction in shortwave solar radiation will reduce water temperature and make stratification less likely. Insulation of the surface water from the wind will make stratification more likely. It's more on stratification. If Google na lang natin changes in stratification will affect deep water oxygen. Dito, a decrease in oxygen could release pollutants from the lake bed. An increase could inhibit pollutant release. Shading from the floating solar is likely to reduce toxic cyanobacteria. It may alter the food web. Density-driven thermal stratification can occur during the summer months, decoupling cool bottom water from the warm surface water. So it could be positive, could be negative, but in summary, meron talaga siyang effect to the environment, dun sa body of water. That is why yung ginagawa natin is we are making sure na yung impact ng ating floating solar to the environment, kung hindi man natin ma-zero, ma-minimize natin. That is why we need to have some sort of guidelines. Alam ko for the Department of Energy, meron silang guidelines na for floating solar ginagawa for the environment impact. But of course, for electrical practitioners, we must be also aware na meron siyang impact to the environment na we need to consider before we even start thinking of installing this system. Okay, so yeah, so just to give you some information, there are two different kinds of floating solar PV. So meron tayong tinatawag na onshore, also referred to as an inland floating PV. So these are PV systems built on any water body which is geographically located in inland areas. Meron tayong static freshwater bodies. So, walang wave, limited yung wind, shallow yung water, and basins or ponds. We also have these inner waters. So meron tayong small to medium waves of 1 meter, water areas within 1 to 3 kilometers square. Then for large inner waters, so medium waves more than 1 meter in height, water areas between 3 and above square kilometers. Basically, pagka sinabi nating onshore, we are expecting limited, minimal waves. So, viability of installing floating solar is mataas talaga. So, if you can locate an area na pwedeng paglagyan onshore, mas maganda na doon tayo magsimula. On the other hand, we also have this marine floating PV. So PV systems that are designed for deployment on salty or brackish water. Marine floating PV includes nearshore and offshore floating PV and are defined based on specific conditions such as waves and wind. So pagka nearshore, any location in reasonably sheltered areas. So wave height up to 2 to 6 or 8 meters or 3 meters. Pagka offshore naman, any location in unsheltered water, wave height is greater than 2 to 3 meters. If you are going to choose, of course, doon tayo sa onshore. Kasi doon tayo sa minimal lang yung waves, limited yung wind, shallow yung water. Wala ka masyadong problem with corrosion. So, if we can locate projects for onshore, so mas maganda. Okay, so kung kayo sa company nyo, you are also looking for project opportunity. So try to identify as early as now areas na po pwede for onshore floating. But of course, sa Philippines, alam naman natin, papaligiran tayo ng tubig. So yung potential for marine floating PV, napakataas. The issue lang talaga for the Philippines, lagi tayong dinadaanan ng bagyo. So, ibig sabihin, dapat yung ating standard for floating solar, makonsider natin yung ganong scenario. Or other countries na alam natin na may floating solar, or our neighboring countries, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, and some other countries, hindi naman sila madalas talagang dinadaanan ng malalakas na bagyo. So, hindi nila problem yun. But in the Philippines, alam naman natin, halos linggo-linggo nga minsan may bagyo. So we need to make sure that our floating solar can withstand this typhoon. Yung other countries, yung kanilang standard for their floating solar, yung withstand capability for wind, mga nasa 150 kilometers per hour lang, okay na sa kanila. But in the Philippines, alam naman natin, history ng Philippines, meron tayong typhoons na maabot pa nga 300 plus kilometers per hour. So imagine, no, kapag may floating solar ka and dinaanan ng ganong klaseng bagyo, paano kaya makaka-survive yung floating solar? And we know that napakalaki ng investment na kakailanganin for this kind of project. We need to, of course, if meron tayong potential na onshore lang, grab na natin yan, ano? So, mga kamatiyan dito, dahil alam na ninyo na may development tayo for floating solar and may mga areas pa sa Philippines na po pwedeng paglagyan. Simulan na ninyo, hanapan na ninyo ng mga magagandang area make proposals, start yung data gathering ninyo para makauna na kayo for this development. For the cumulative capacity, kitang-kita dito, although for the Philippines, pag nagsisimula pa lang tayo, yung kaninang pinakita ko for Laguna Lake, pasimula pa lang yun. But for other countries, for the cumulative capacity from 2015 to 2022, kita ninyo yung paglaki agad ng capacity ng floating solar. And this could happen to the Philippines in the next few years. So, simula lang yun sa Laguna Lake, but eventually, tutuloy-tuloy na yan. Alam naman natin for solar, medyo limited na talaga yung space natin for the installation of our ating mga ground-mounted solar. We need to find, and we have a target na 50% RE natin for 2040. So, kailangan gumawa tayo ng paraan para maka-catch up tayo and makuha natin yung target. So, for the Philippines, this could also be the same case in the next few years as yung ating installation ng floating solar. Now, by the way, this material, yung kanina, kung gusto ninyo, you can search for floating PV best practices guidelines from Solar Power Europe. Magandang reference yun. And this one is, ito yung isa sa mga reference ko is Where Sun Meets Water, Floating Solar Handbook for the Practitioners. So, ito maganda na i-compare natin between ground-mounted and floating solar. Ano ba yung difference? Although dito, pag-usapan muna natin yung paano ba natin pinipili yung water body para sa isang floating solar. For the location, of course, katulad nung binabanggit natin kanina, still, yung location ng floating solar mo, need to consider yung load centers and populated regions. Of course, alam naman natin yan, basic yan sa power system. Mas malapit sa load center, mas maganda. Accessibility by road, of course, dapat secured. Close to big loads, no? Manufacturing facilities, or ports, or simplified logistics. Low preference natin, meaning to say hindi masyadong ganun ka-importante. Yung mga remote places with high transportation costs. Sa development pa lang, if you're going to ship out this equipment and you will be bringing it to a remote area or an island na mahirap yung logistics, malaki agad yung gastos and malaki yung risk for the project. I have an experience na meron kaming project, pwede na lahat, may funding na, but hindi natuloy kasi problema niya yung transportation. Ang laki ng risk shipment ng equipment. It's a wind turbine project, but the risk of transporting this wind turbine to this island, medyo hindi kinaya. Hindi natuloy yung project. Weather and climate, yan. So, of course, high preference natin, high solar irradiation, but in the Philippines, kahit saan ata pwede. Little wind or storms, kung dito tayo may problema kasi sa Philippines, talagang laging may bagyo. Though as mentioned earlier, parang yung Western Mindanao area, yan, bihira yung bagyo talaga dyan na malalakas. In Visayas, Eastern Visayas, 'di ba? Of course, yung Luzon, yung uh, especially yung Northern Luzon, yan. Taas talaga dyan. Calm water, dry region where water conservation is important. So, low preference natin, yung, of course, hindi siya applicable sa atin. Cold regions with freezing water, high winds and risk of natural disasters such as typhoons and tsunamis. Yung seasonal flooding, di rin pwede kasi of course you can make some uh, parang adjustment on your design, your floating structure or yung design can take siguro yung increase or decrease ng water level, but pagka may bagyo and binahayan talaga ng sobrang taas na tubig, hindi rin makakasurvive yung floating solar. Drought events that lead to exposure of waterbed. So type of water body. Of course, high preference dyan is yung mga man-made reservoir. Meron na dito sa Philippines yung mga may mga nabalitaan ako yung mga dating mga tailings pan, mga minahan, hindi na ginagamit. Pwedeng tignan if pwede ba talaga na lagay tayo ng floating solar. Of course, the dams, pwede. Since meron tayong system na dyan sa Magat Dam, 200 kilowatt pa lang yun. But this is one of the ginagawa ngayon kasi with the installation of floating solar sa mga dams, hydroelectric power plants, pwede natin siyang i-hybridize. Hybrid siya with floating solar and hydroelectric. Pwede yun. Industrial water bodies, mine areas, irrigation ponds. Low preference natin, natural lakes, tourist or recreational sites. Of course, gustuhin man natin nalagyan lahat ng floating solar, but still, meron tayong mga protected areas. Pwede. So, tignan nyo muna agad kung paano mo mamaya protected area yon. Hindi kayo makakuha doon ng ECC sa project ninyo. Or tourist area siya or recreational area. Hindi pwede. Low preference natin. Water body characteristics, as much as possible, we would like water body na regular yung shape para mas madali yung magiging layout natin. Wide opening towards south or north. So low preference natin yung mga narrow areas and presence of islands or obstacles in the middle. Medyo mahirap tayong pag-layout ng maganda dyan. Pwede pa naman, but medyo kung sa preference nga, low preference natin yung mga ganitong area. Ownership, single owner. Of course, may legal entity. Same din ito pagka bumibili ng lupa for the ground mounted. Siyempre, low preference natin yung multiple owners or individual private owners. Underwater terrain and soil condition. Gusto natin yung shallow, even yung terrain, hard yung ground for the anchors. Water bottom clear of any cables, pipelines, or other obstructions. Low preference dito yung mga areas with soft mud ground for anchoring. Medyo mahirap, challenging yung paglalagay ng anchors for these areas. Okay. And then other site conditions, weather conditions, of course, fresh water with low hardness and salinity. Of course, gusto natin yan. Para medyo di natin problema yung corrosion. But of course, for floating solar, ang ano natin dyan is anti-corrosion na yung ating mga ilalagay na materials. So, low preference, salty water, dirty, corrosive water, water prone to biofouling. Other site conditions na kailangan nating i-consider, dapat may existing electrical infrastructure transmission lines, easy water access, sufficient land area for deploying and placing electrical equipment. Kasi kanina, kita natin, you still need an area for your substation and some other buildings or yung control room, offices, kailangan mo pa rin ng space. Self-consumption loads such as wastewater treatment and irrigation pump facilities. So, ang ating low preference, no existing infrastructure, extensive horizon shading from nearby mountains. Same pa rin with our ground-mounted. Nearby pollution sources, chimneys, burning crops, quarries. Okay. So, ecology, simple and robust ecology. Natural habitat of preserved species. So, titingnan mabuti. Frequent bird activity. Sa din ito. Water species that are sensitive to water temperature, dissolve oxygen and sunlight. So, lahat yan tinitingnan mabuti. Bago tayo mag-start ng ating project na floating solar. Napakarami ng considerations so alos pareho naman siya nung ground mounted but may added kasi dahil body of water na yung pinag-uusapan natin, may mga iba tayong kailangang tignan. Okay, so now ito na yung comparison natin between a land-based, yung ground mounted versus yung ating floating. So for site identification, tingnan natin ano ba yung difference itong dalawa na to. So comparison of development of floating and land-based PV projects. Of course, pag floating does not compete for land with agriculture, industrial, or residential projects. So that's one of the issues kasi natin for the land-based na solar. Kasi nagagamit yung lupa na pwede sanang gamitin for agriculture or other use. But we need power. So we need to use those areas for land-based solar. Pagka floating, so hindi natin problema yan. Next, often easier to find sites near densely populated areas, especially in the Philippines. Pwede. Potential integration with aquaculture. As long as maging maayos yung project, pwede pa siya, potential integration with aquaculture. Pag land-based, ito, kadalasan, suitable land may be far away from the load centers, requiring costly transmission infrastructure. It requires change in land use. Tagal yun, time-consuming. Competes for land with the city, dwellings, and other purposes. Problema. For the power system benefits, synergy with existing electrical infrastructure such as hydro power plants. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, meron na tayong mga ganito from other countries na yung hydroelectric nila, kinumbay nila sa floating solar. So, napakaganda kasi hindi naman nagagamit for now yung dams for hydroelectric. So, nilagyan na lang ng floating solar. That could also be possible for the Philippines in the future. The cost of grid interconnection are often borne by the project developer and can be prohibitively high. So ito na yun kapag land-based siya. And mahirapan ka maghanap ng lupa. And nakuha mo lang na lupa is X kilometers away from the load center or from the nearest stopping point. So yun, kadalasan yung interconnection, medyo magastos yun. Ito yung isa pa, yung energy yield, operating environment. So, open and flat. course, yung water body natin, open and flat lang siya. Low reflected diffuse light from water surface, general presence of evaporative cooling and higher wind speed, presence of dynamic movement. So sabi nga nila kapag floating solar, mas mataas yung efficiency simply because yung water cooling nakakatulong doon sa panels. We know na pagka mataas yung temperature, mas less efficient yung ating mga panels. As much as possible, we would like to have a cooler temperature for the panels. That's why for floating solar, mas nagiging mataas yung kanyang yield. For the land-based, so terrain type may vary. Albedo depends on the ground type. No movement yung difference niya. For the losses, ito na, lower module temperature, no shading from nearby objects, less yung soiling from dust. But ang nagiging problema ngayon, wala kang alikabok, but yung mga bird droppings, very common for floating solar. Ito yung nagiging common problem because some of these areas talaga maraming ibon. So, bird droppings yung nagiging problema. So, potential mismatch loss from temperature in homogeneity and misalignment in module facing. So, for the land-based, more temperature losses in arid climates. Performance, overall higher performance. Long-term yung degradation natin for floating solar. Pag land-based, if you are installing yung may tracking, bifacial, and optimum tilt, pwede namang katulong dun sa yield. Yield prediction is better established. So basically, if based on this comparison, we can say na siguro by a small margin, lumalamang yung ating floating solar in terms of the energy yield compared to the land-based natin na system. Medyo and may mga nakita akong data na nasasabi talaga na mas mataas yung yield for floating solar. Yan. For the design naman, so modular design, since the water is a flat surface, on flat water surface, limited tilt, implies lower energy yield in high altitude regions, row spacing determined by floating structure. So, depende sa floating structure na gagamitin, yung giging spacing natin. Consists of floating islands. So, for the land-based, design must accommodate the terrain constraints or requires leveling. Flexible yung ating spacing. Unlike floating, kasi depende sa floating structure mo, may consist of large tables of PV panels. In floating solar, minsan hindi kaya yung mga large table. Kailangan i-break talaga natin. Especially if yung area is daanan din ng mga boats, you need to break para meron pa rin access yung boats. Hindi lang pwedeng lagyan na lang natin ng panels kasi wala na magiging access yung boats. And with some other considerations, no? So, pagka land-based, pwedeng mas malalaki yung tables natin for PV panels. Mounting and support structures, so floating platform, anchoring and mooring is essential. Need to provide maintenance walkway, of course. Floating platform experiences forces from winds, snow, waves, and water currents. That is why sa ginagawa namin, when we started the the development of the standard, in-identify natin ano yung pinaka importante for a floating solar, and unanimously yung naging sagot is yung floating platform natin. Simply because, especially for the Philippines, winds, yung waves, yung water currents, iba sa atin eh. Like for other areas, we can just simply adapt yung kung ano man yung meron sila standard. But for the floating platform, hindi. Kasi iba talaga yung sa atin. Iba yung conditions natin compared to other countries. Kailangan doon tayo magpo-focus. Kailangan masigurado natin na kapag survive yung floating solar kapag may mga problema. So land-based, piles and rock structure, mounting structure experience forces from winds and snow only. Walang waves and water currents. Easier to implement tracking sa floating. Medyo may hirapan tayo dyan. Potentially more susceptible to resistance effects. Electrical equipment. Okay, so electrical equipment may be placed on floats or on shore. Cables mainly routed on floats. Potential need for higher protection standards and test certifications. Of course, since you are dealing with water, kailangan protected yung ating mga electrical equipment and cables. Many floating platform designs require equipotential bonding wires. Of course, you need to ensure yung proper bonding of our system. Kailangan din yun for floating solar. String inverters and electrical boxes may be placed under PV modules. Cables are placed in conduits above ground or buried underground. For the safety, so ito yung common problem, no? Yung platform design needs to consider additional risks for personnel performing O&M. High humidity environment leads to lower insulation resistance and increased risk of electrical leakage. Proper cable management is important to accommodate constant movement that may otherwise lead to cable damage and fires. So this is also one of the issues for floating solar, yung cable management, kasi nga meron tayong waves, water currents. So yung cables natin, yung mga connections nila, sometimes pagka hindi maganda yung pagkakalagay, mapuputol talaga, no? Da-damage yung connector. So dapat tingnan din natin mabuti. For the land-based, safety relatively well established. So meron pa, pero just to summarize, do kanina sabi natin, for floating medyo maganda nga yung kanyang output, yung kanyang yield, but you need to consider this for the design, no? Kasi nga meron kang waves and water currents, marami kang kailangang i-consider. Electrical safety ng ating personnel, kakandak ng operation and maintenance. So yun yung mga medyo kailangang i-consider, no, for floating solar. Okay, next, financial and legal considerations. Medyo bilisan ko lang ng konti. It's already 3. Investment, in summary, medyo mataas lang yung cost natin for floating solar, since meron tayo mga floaters dyan, anchors, and some other equipment. So cost-wise, mas malaki yung investment for floating solar. Regulation and permits. Of course, problema natin, no, yung permitting, difficult for lakes and of course for ponds and other artificial body of water, mas madali. Okay. Experience a level of maturity So 1.3 gigawatt peak pa lang siya for 2018. For land-based, 500 gigawatt peak. So ang laki ng difference. No? So konti pa rin talaga. More than 350 projects built, thousands of projects built. 4 years of experience with large-scale project, 10 to 30 years of experience. So, yun naman, yung maturity ng technology, medyo hindi pa talaga ganun yung floating solar natin. Kailangan na pag-aralan nating mabuti before we implement this project. Okay, so environmental and social considerations, long-term effect on water quality, not well established. Patayan yan, potential impact on biodiversity, including aquatic ecosystem, potential to reduce algae growth, potential to reduce water evaporation. So here, pag-aaralan nating mabuti, anong klaseng mga equipment yung ilalagay natin. Of course, if the body of water is used for other purposes, may mga isda na nandoon. So, of course, you will not be using yung mga harmful materials. Yung floaters, hindi po pwedeng may content yun na nakamamatay for the aquatic ecosystem. So, titingnan natin dito, dapat yung ating mga floaters, pagka lalagay natin sa area may nangingisda or aquatic animals, dapat food grade yung ating floater. Kahit na patunaw man yan dyan, safe pa rin for our fishes, no? And hindi siya harmful dun sa mga taong nandoon. These are some of the considerations na ginagawa natin. Okay, so bilisan lang natin ng konti dito. Installation and deployment, assembly, generally easy, but highly variable depending on the location and the availability of the workforce. Transportation of loads is difficult. Needs suitable launching area. Natin i-launch yung ating mga materials for the floating structures. May need specialized equipment or divers to install the anchoring system. For the testing and commissioning, yun lang, wala tayong international standards for verifying floats. For the grounding module frame or mounting structure may be challenging if constant motion causes bonding conductor to loosen or snap. Kasi sinasabi ko kanina yung cable management. So sabi nga natin, grounding, bonding is very important for this system. Kapag gumagalaw pa yung tubig, and may potential na maputol, paano yun pagka naputol yung grounding system natin? So delikado. That's why we need to make sure na maayos talaga yung installation na ginagawa. Operations and maintenance, harder to access and replace parts. Wave action increases mechanical wear and tear. Lower risk of theft. Safety, constant movement of floats poses walking hazards. Risk of personnel falling into water. Yun yung mga concerns natin. Basically, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, for floating solar in terms of safety, electrical safety ba yan or sa operation and maintenance, procurement, medyo may kailangan tayong may mga challenges tayo dyan for floating solar na kailangan nating i-address. So, in summary, hindi talaga madali yung floating solar system natin. Medyo may mga challenges tayo kailangan i-address. Okay, so skip na natin ito. So, some of the benefits and potential challenges. Ayan, so unahin natin mga benefits. Compatible with the electric infrastructure. Alis pareho kasi siya ng land-based. For cleaning of modules, water is available. Reduce algae growth because of the less light intensity. Reduce water evaporation. So if we are dealing with water evaporation, so ito nakakatulong siya to reduce water evaporation. Fast and easy setup. No land preparation required. The cooling effect of water improves the PV efficiency. But for the challenges, ayan, soiling of birds, maintenance may require diving if you are going to maintain yung ating mga anchors. Complex mooring and anchoring depending on the location. Kaya kung merong shallow lang, mas maganda. Reduced light reduction may have environmental impact. Dito, kaya yung ibang mga projects, instead of putting up yung mga large tables of panels, ginagawa talaga nila, inahati-hati nila just to minimize yung impact natin doon sa ecosystem doon sa ilalim. No, para naman at least may pumapasok mga sea animals. Okay? For the occupational risk, ayan, so we have on land, we have on water. So trips, slips, falls, and drowning, unstable floaters, pontoons, glare due to water body, fire risk and electrocution, danger from aquatic animals. Pagka mamaya may crocodile pala yung pinaglagyan ninyo, no? So sino kaya magme-maintenance doon? Tools, equipment, falling into water, difficulties during operation and maintenance. So here is some of the design guidelines pwede ninyong sundan for your floating solar. So we start with the GIS-based study, checking historical change in water coverage, surface area, and finding the permanent area under water surface. So ito na yung pinaka ngayon latest, no, GIS-based yung study natin. We start with that before we even go to the site for the field visit. So site access and pathways, distance from the substations or nearby infrastructure. Okay, so the outcome gusto natin is optimum surface area identified for the floating solar installation and water quality. That's from the initial assessment. Next is the bathymetry, hydrography, and soil testing. So importante yung contour map showing the elevation of the original water body basin geological survey, the soil properties for establishing anchoring and mooring. So titingnan natin kung anong pwede anchoring and mooring mechanism and feasibility of the project. So outcome, suitable location for the anchors and mooring, overall viability of the project. Then environmental assessment. So dahil nasa water body, kailangan talaga to. Plant components on local diversity, standards for material selections, decision on minimum surface coverage area for the floating solar installations. The outcome is environmental and social impact assessment report of the project. Project design, meteorological data, of course, solar irradiance, wind direction, velocity, wave height, ambient temperature, rainfall, etc. Current purpose of the water body, seasonal variations of water level, type of water body and its purpose. Then you can proceed with your very common simulations for solar projects, PVCs, helioscope, etc. Placement of inverters and other components, balance of systems, cables, cablings, plant capacity, and generation. So, outcome is the complete project design layout with applicable standards. Then, installation and commissioning, fixing of anchoring and mooring mechanism, launching of platform, fixing of platform with anchoring and mooring. Okay, so ayun, no. So basically hindi naman talaga siya nalalayo dun sa ground mounted system natin. You still need for the design, project design, meteorological data, simulations, ginagawa naman natin yan. Environmental and social impact assessment, ginagawa naman talaga natin yan. Initial site assessment, may mga nadagdag lang, nasa tubig nga tayo. May additional steps lang tayong inilagay for floating solar. So for those na interesado, you can follow this guidelines. So for those na interested na talagang pag-aralan to, these are some of the technical standards for the different components of a floating solar. Yan. So there are many IEC standards that we can use for yung sa solar PV module, or for those na gumagawa ng TOR for your project. Baka may mga nagtatrabaho dito sa mga companies na kayo gumagawa ng mga terms of reference. Ito yung pwede nyong gamitin. We have different IEC standards for the solar module. Then for the floating platform, floaters, so ito naman yung mga technical standards na pwede ninyong gamitin. I-check. For, ito pa, yan, madami. Tignan nyo na lang dyan. I'll be giving this presentation to BPX, to Northern Laguna. So pwede nyo tignan ulit itong mga list na to. Then for the inverters, power conditioners, ito naman yung mga po pwede nyo gamitin ng standards. Cables, ito naman, and grounding, earthing. Yeah. And then for others, no, switches, circuit breakers, connectors, junction boxes. Yan, dito nyo makukuha. Okay. So, basically, itong mga technical standards na to, available naman talaga ito. Diba? So, ang ginagawa lang natin talaga is we make sure that all the applicable standards for the Philippines, maisama natin. Yung mga hindi naman applicable, huwag na natin ilagay kasi hindi naman magagamit. So, yun yung ginagawa natin para masigurado naman natin na once na mag-start na yung development and meron tayong sinusundan na guidelines for the Philippines. Ang goal lang naman talaga natin dito is for this system, mabawasan yung environmental impact and pa-survive dun sa environmental conditions natin, no, sa Pilipinas. And of course, yung electrical safety natin, safety of our personnel during operation and maintenance, masigurado natin na in place for the project. So, ito na, no? So, challenges in the development of floating solar PV systems. So, ano ba yung mga challenges based na sa naging discussion natin? So, of course, unavailability of standard technical guidelines. And katulad nga nung dinidiscuss natin, it has to be site-specific. Hindi pwedeng yung gamitin natin na guidelines is from the other country. So, hindi dito magiging effective, no, kapag ginamit natin yung sa iba, since yung ating environmental conditions in the Philippines is different from their country. Unavailability of water body data. So, sabi ko nga sa inyo kanina, you can start with checking ano ba yung mga lugar na po pwede, but still, problem natin is yung availability ng data. So, kailangan pa nating maghanap ng data tulad ng mga considerations na pinapakita kanina. Plant components and safety and its long-term reliability. Kanina sinasabi, hindi pa ganun katagal. Ilang years pa lang ba yung mga installed na floating solar? Like for the land-based, matatagal na. But for floating solar, hindi pa naman ganun katagal. And in the Philippines, the absence of local manufacturing for the different equipment. So, medyo doon tayo nahuhuli talaga. So, we need to get these materials from outside the country. So, medyo challenging sa atin. Especially if we are looking for malalaki na installation in the future. Okay, so I guess that's the end of my short presentation for now. Maybe can have a few question and answer. Baka po may mga gustong magtanong. Pwede na po tayo mag-question.
Yeah, magtanong na kayo. The floor is open. You could just unmute your microphones if you wanted to ask the question, no? Ang certificate po ibibigay sa inyo kapag nag-post na po ng registration link. Be sure to register for you to receive your certificate and a copy of the presentation if it will be shared to us by not auditor. Okay? So shoot, you could ask questions if you want, guys. Balik ka daw sa one slide, sir, for the standard cable requirements.
Sige po. Naka-list po BPX si Sir Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph
Si
Benson.
Sir Ariel, meron siyang sinabi dito. Can you go back one slide, sir, for the standard
lang po,
cable
BPX,
requirement?
Stop ko lang yung sharing ko. Palit lang ako ng wifi ko. Parang medyo na bumagal. Napuputol eh.
Yung mga joiners ng Thursday Delight, alam na nila yung proseso namin. So, kung bago kayo, you have to register in order for you to receive your certificate through email. Okay? Yan. Nakita mo na yung question?
Ayan, okay na. BPX. Teka, open ko yung sa chat natin. Wow, 84. Tek, hindi naman.
301 eton sa akin. Sandali
301? Sige po.
Yeah.
Umpisa natin dyan.
Meron kasing mga
Hindi ko na-open to kanina eh. So,
marami.
marami na palang question.
Yeah. Ikwan mo sa 301.
301.
301 yung nakita ko eh.
Sige po. View more messages.
301 yung start
Yan.
sa akin. Yan.
So, ito po
Kay Alzamir.
Okay,
Alzamir.
He is currently working with Samselco, Zamboanga City Electric Cooperative. Assigned to inspect net metering naman po. What is the ideal setup for hybrid inverters na may battery to avoid feedback sa system ng DU? Ako sir, net metering na yung question mo eh.
Oh yeah, wala po. Doon lang tayo, sir, sa kwan. Sa kwan yung pinesent muna ngayon. Ano po?
Pero
kuha
sir,
tayo ng kwan.
Sir, para ma-discuss natin. Tulungan kita, sir. Si Sir Alzamir. Sir, i-discuss na lang natin sa chat. Ito po kay Sir Rosel. Opo, yung copy po ibibigay ko po ito after the presentation. Kay Sir Joji Paraiso, Electrical Safety Training and Working at Seawater sa ONM. Yes, sir. Kailangan natin yan, sir, since these are floating solar. So, preferred natin yung may ganitong klaseng training. One slide. Kay Sir Ariel. Kaso 317. Ano kayang cable requirement? Baka hindi niya nakuha. Teka lang, BPX i-share natin.
Sige.
Baka hindi niya. Ay, bibigyan ko naman po kayo ng copy, sir. Doon na lang siguro, sir. If you
Yes, sir.
need
Paki-disregard na lang po, sir. Apa, thank you,
Sir
sir.
Ariel,
Salamat
dun mo
po.
na lang sir kunin sa sa file.
Yes,
Baka
sir.
hindi lang
Thank you po,
nakuha
sir.
ni sir.
Thank you po.
Okay, sir. Ito kay Ma'am Monique. Certificate lang ito. BPX. Okay na to. How is the grounding installed on this kind of system? Yes, sir. Kailangan natin ng grounding dito. Sir, doon siya kinoconnect sa ating anchors. Mooring lines sa anchors. Diba connected naman siya sa ground. So, yun. Kaya nga lang, sir, ang problem is, yun nga, sir, dahil may movement yung water, we need to make sure that properly installed. So, baka naputol, problema natin yon, yung safety natin. Alam naman natin, as electrical practitioners, gaano ka-importante yung grounding system natin. Grounding and bonding. Yeah. Sir Julius Marinas. Question niya po is, do you consider grounding system? Yes po. And lightning protection system and floating solar? Yes po, sir. Meron po yun. Yung kanina po, sir, yung isa nating illustration, meron po tayo dun nakaspecify na lightning protection system. This is same lightning protection po na ginagamit natin for other system. Pwede po yun. Though they say na mas less yung issue natin with lightning for this kasi mababa lang naman siya. But still, we need to install lightning protection system. Okay. BPX, nasa 321 na ako. Alam ko po, hindi ko pa nabasa. Kay Sir Adrian Teves, what about environmental impact assessment for DNR ECC? Are there anything in place? Alam ko po meron po tayo na ilalabas for floating solar CDNR. Di ko lang po alam kung meron na talaga or basta ang alam ko po is meron standard for this floating solar. Ilalabas ang DNR po natin. Is Sir Sunnyber, do you have guidelines for the commissioning system or standards for the PB system? If the question is testing and commissioning, sir, this could be same with the land-based system. If testing and commissioning, wala tayong nakikitang pinagkaiba dito, sir. Almost similar ito, sir. Si Ma'am Ira Joy Menjola. Good afternoon, Sir Adrian. Is there a standard distance or spacing between modules? This spacing po will depend on the floating platform po na gagamitin ninyo. So, depende po. Some may platform, meron siyang specific distance between modules. So, kung ano po yung platform na gagamitin, yun po yung dun po kayo magpa-follow ng distance. Registration. Si Sir Dan pala to. Cables. Nasa floats din po, nasa floater, Sir Chester. Nasa floater din po yung cables po, sir. Nakalagay din po siya, sir, sa floater. Kaya po, sir, ang common issue here is yung kapag ka may provision ka for access ng boats, you need to properly design, sir, para po hindi natin mahaharangan. Okay na ito kay Sir Julius. Leakage current. Sir William, what type of cable? Sir, very common, sir, yung mga HDPE natin, sir, na cables for floating, medium voltage, low voltage, and DC. HDPE. Sir Dan, yung form daw site can't be reached, yung Google form. 。  . 。 . 。 . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . 。 . . 。 . . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . Sir Dan, yung form daw site can't be reached, yung Google form. Sir Nixon Gatchalian, good afternoon po. Ano po yung materials for floating device ng panels po? Meron pong different materials. Could also be HDPE. Very common now, HDPE material. Ito, nasagot ko na yung kay Sir Teofilo. Doon po sir sa may anchors natin sir, commonly doon natin inalagay. Kasi doon po yung meron tayong connection sa ground. Yung floating solar natin, yung connection natin sa ground is doon via our anchors. So doon po yung nagiging connection na rin natin sir for our grounding. So from the panel to the metal structure, properly bonded, going to the anchor sir, para may connection tayo to ground. Google po. Mga kakilala ko pala to, BTX, yung mga nandito from Palawan. Oh, nakikita ko dito
Palawan
sa-
din pala.
Oo, may mga Palawan dito. So, hello po sa inyo. Nandito pala mga kaibigan natin. Nagugulat ako pag baba ko yung nakikita yung ano yung kung sino mga nag-join.
Oo.
So, ito kay Ma'am Juna. In short po, what are the chances or motivations po na mag-install ng floating PV? Parang hindi po ganun positive po ang mag-install lalo na pag ganito projects nito ngayon. Still, we have potential for floating solar. Ang kailangan lang po talaga nating i-address, katulad po nung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, is yung ating mga environmental conditions kasi talagang iba talaga sa Philippines, yung ating typhoon and yung ating, of course, yung ating environment, yung effect niya dun sa environment, we need to consider. So, motivation. Ang motivation na lang siguro natin dito is we need renewable energy. And if you are just relying on the land base, time will come, kukulangin na po talaga tayo. So, as early as now, we need to start the development of floating solar projects. Simulan na natin habang maaga pa. Marami pa tayong matututunan dyan pagka nag-start na tayong i-develop. And eventually, time will come, kahit na bagyuhin yung Pilipinas, may pagmamalaki natin sa ibang bansa na successful tayo dun sa implementation ng floating solar. Siguro yun na lang, isang motivation natin. May pagmamalaki ng bawat isa sa atin na madalas nga bagyo dito sa amin, but still we were able to install these projects. Withstand niya yung mga typhoon, maayos yung aming implementation. And eventually, makatulong tayo dun sa target ng government natin na 50% RE dun sa ating renewable portfolio standard. Because if we are only relying on the land base, and sabi nga kanina, we have a problem on available area, compete pa siya with our agriculture and other services application. So, bakit hindi natin gamitin yung tubig for our energy requirements? Ayan. Sana nasagot ko yung question ni Ma'am Juna. Sa tidal, kay Sir Charlie, Sir, yes po, isa pa po yun, it's a different discussion, pero that is something na pwede din nating tignan since yun nga po, napipaligiran tayo ng tubig. So, ano niya kasi is about utilization of tidal. So, since napapaligiran tayo ng tubig, so this is another technology na we can use. But for now, hindi pa talaga siya ganun ka sabihin na natin na for implementation dito sa atin, it's still under study pa ito, yung tidal. Madami pa. Kay Sir Joseph Dulisin. Sir, the computation of wires is also the same ba dito? Kasi nakasubmerge sa water or nakababad. Kasi bababa ang distance. Or, Sir, ito yung something na i-ano natin. I think, kahit ako hindi pa masasagot sa ngayon. But this is something na we need also to develop for our Philippine Electrical Code. Baka dito may mga expert tayo dito. But yeah, this is something na we need to include dun sa Philippine Electrical Code. Wala pa tayong ganun dun eh. So, since this is new, so baka sa mga susunod, pwede na nating isama yung ating standards for calculation for floating solar, yung calculation ng cable. Yung ating ilang percent ba dapat yung gagamitin natin. So wala pa po talaga tayo eh. Wala pa po tayo. But of course, to answer this question, ako nakikita ko iba dapat yung consideration natin. This is not the same computation na ginagamit natin for yung ating land-based system. Okay. Ito may question po si Ma'am Ira Menjola. How to manage the cables and ensure that it will not be broken, especially during stormy weather? Ma'am, ginagawa po dito, yung isa ko po na nalaman, ginagawa po dito, kasi if, yun nga po, tama ka, pagka masyadong magalaw yung tubig, natatanggal po talaga yung connectors. So ginagawa po nila, sinisecure po talaga nila ng maayos. Yung mismong cable, tinatay pa po nila doon mismo sa may structure nila, sa may platform. Nakatay po siya doon, tapos meron siyang parang allowance. No, kapag gumagalaw, hindi niya nahihila yung panel. So nakatay siya, then meron siyang slack allowance na nilalagay sila para at least kapag gumagalaw yung tubig, hindi naman mahihila yung panel, hindi matatanggal yung connectors natin. Dapat sa atin sa Philippines, baka mamaya kailangan 2-3 pa yung nakatali kasi para mas sigurado, no? Para sigurado tayo na hindi magkakaproblema. So may question si Sir Gian Carlo Dunida. Sir, pa-clarify naman po, yung sinusupplyan lang ba ng mga floating solar is for residential commercial purposes o para siyang augmentation support system para sa mga power plant natin? Sir, this could be a utility scale project. This could be in megawatt scale, yung ating floating solar. Yung kinaibahan niya, sir, sa land-based kasi meron tayong roof-mounted na solar system. For floating solar, medyo hindi natin, baka mahirapan tayong gawin yun for residential application. Hindi pa natin na titignan yon, pero mukhang mahirap yun, sir. So for floating solar, yung application talaga natin dito, sir, is for utility scale, for yung sa ating grid mismo, grid supply. Though for this, if you are familiar with the distributed renewable energy technology, instead of installing this to yung mga centralized power plant, pwede siguro to for parang may nag-share.
Anong shinare?
May nag-share po eh. So yun po, sir. Si Sir Giancarlo, sir. This is for utility scale, not for residential commercial na parang sa net metering or parang sa solar rooftop natin na projects.
Thank you po, sir.
For one island, sir, pwede. Pwede, sir, kung island siya. But for individual houses, yan yung hindi po pwede. Siguro, if you have this island, yung sa ano nga po yung pinakita ko kanina sa inyo, yung one of the proposed project in Tawi-Tawi, that is to supply one island for a specific application. So, pwede po siya, sir, for a community or an island. Pwede naman po. Yan, Sir Gian. Ayan. So, ito kay Sir Joji. Sir, yung mga development na floating ay meron ng DNR guidelines for ECs. Alam ko, sir, meron na kasi pinabid out na yun, sir. Dapat meron na yun, sir. Sir Joji. Para ISO. Ito na si Sir Sir Ian John Antonio. Ay, direct pala to. Sige, later na lang. Sa ngayon po, Sir Julius, yung energy yield assessment, sa ngayon po kasi yung available software natin is hindi pa talaga siya for floating solar. So you can still use your common software for solar for the yield assessment. Hindi pa talaga natin consider yung movement ng water doon. So I guess what you can do for now is kasi based doon sa results, sa study, the yield for floating solar is higher than the land-based. So if you compute same with the land-based, at least medyo conservative sir yung result natin. In reality, it will be higher since you are doing a floating solar project. Sir Von, pa-shout out daw sa mga na taga Isabela, Santiago City. Nandiyan ako sir nakaraan sir sa Santiago City, Isabela. Baka nag-meet tayo doon sir. Sir Japet. Ayan. Yung 1 megawatt na solar farm. Ano? Yung costly sir. Definitely sir, the one yung floating solar natin sir is mas mahal compared to a land-based solar farm. But if you are talking about a solar farm, baka mamaya mahal yung lupa, mahal yung bentahan ng lupa. Hindi natin sir masabi, baka mas maging mahal pa yung solar farm. But based doon sir sa mga information, still yung floating solar natin sir mas costly siya compared to the land base. Sir Nixon Gatchalian. Sir, hindi po ba prone sa moist ang floating solar, lalo na sa equipment? Sir, prone yan sir sa moisture, sa water. So, dapat yung ating mga equipment sir, inverter sir, dapat yung kanyang enclosure, protection niya sir, for dapat for water siya sir, protected siya for water. PV connector. Sir, halos pareho pero may nakita ko sir na isa for floating solar. Mas ano siya sir, mas maganda yung quality. Yung question ni sir Isko Arosa. Mas ano siya sir na quality since yung may movement ka nga sir ng water. So kailangan yung connector mo sir mas matibay. So hindi sir pwede yung hindi pwede yung sa rooftop. Iba yun sir, iba yung magiging nun sir. Baka pagka tumakas yung alon sir, matanggal yung sir agad.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ayun sir, thank you. And shout out daw sa mga taga Palahon chapter, sir Romeo Salde. Ayan. Sir Emmanuel Reyes sir, good afternoon po. Parang hindi nauubos to BPX. Dito ba talaga dito sa Hindi nauubos yung message eh. Thank
Hindi
you.
talaga nauubos yan, kaya nga open ang oras namin dito eh.
Parang kanina pa 30 plus yung binabasa ko dito eh. Hindi na grabe. Sir, naka-grid tayo or off-grid? Sir, pwede any sir, since you will be using the inverter naman sir will be same with the sir, same with the land base. Okay lang yun sir. Medyo binibilisan ko lang BPX at talagang ang dami.
Yeah, tignan mo na lang kung ano yung related talaga diyan sa floating para at least
Opo, para medyo matapos.
may kasunod
tayo.
pa ya. Yeah.
kay Sir Lieutenant ba to? Engineer Michael Montefalcon.
Montefalcon, yeah.
Lieutenant, sir,
Yeah.
ano pong mas cost-effective and efficient when it comes to operation and maintenance? Floating solar or land-based solar? Sir, may advantages si floating solar compare kay land-based. Kanina sinasabi doon, si land-based, problema natin, yung mga dust, etc. Wala yun kapag floating solar, but ang kapalit niya naman yung mga sa mga ibon, dumi ng ibon, yun yung nagiging problem natin. In terms of operation and maintenance, yung safety lang kailangan i-consider natin since people will be working, walking doon sa ating mga platforms, so medyo delikado ng konti compared to the land base. So, may mga considerations lang tayo in terms of operation and maintenance. So, cost effective. For me, sir, depende naman ito, sir. Depende dun sa project. But basically, if we talk about solar, very minimal naman talaga dapat, sir, yung maintenance, operation and maintenance cost natin for a solar project. So, siguro, pareho naman sila, sir, na cost effective. Ito, may question si Ma'am Ira. Paano po if limited lang ang area na paglalagyan po ng solar and may need na i-reach na capacity? In this case po, ma'am, if I may suggest, you utilize, ma'am, the latest available solar panel with highest capacity po. Para po ma-reach ninyo yung capacity na gusto nyo with the limited area. So baka mamaya may limited area lang kayo, then you use pa yung old example. If we are talking about the panels, right now we have 600 plus kilowatt peak watt peak capacity per panel. So better use that if you have a problem with your space, unlike using yung mga dati pa na mga 500, 400 watt peak per panel na capacity. Yun yung ma'am yung isa nating pwedeng gawin doon, ma'am, para po Yes, ma'am. Ayan. Sige, ma'am. Nasagot ko ba mo yung
Po, sorry po, maraming tanong kasi currently designing 200 kilowatt peak na floating solar. And pag ganun po, sir, parang okay po yung nasa 600 watt peak na range. How about yung mga nasa 690 na
Yes, ma'am.
ano?
Sige po.
May weight consideration po ba yun for the mounting structure?
You check, ma'am, with yung floating platform nyo, ma'am. Just check with the floating platform if ilan yung kaya niyang i-carry. If how
Okay
many
po.
platforms you need to use for that weight of your panel. Baka mamaya
Okay po.
kailangan ng 2 platform or 3. Yun doon lang
Okay
siya
po.
magbabari.
Thank
But
you, sir.
achieving your capacity, kayang-kaya siya, ma'am, if ganun yung gagamitin.
Sige po, sir. Thank you po.
Opo, ma'am. Sige, ma'am. Welcome po. Okay, 16 na lang po ito. Ito may info si Sir Genesis, from the DOE, si Sir Genesis Ramos. So mayroong tidal power project in the Kapul Island, Northern Samar. First power generation in Southeast Asia. Expected to deploy in 2025. Ayun, thank you Sir Genesis for the information. Ayan, meron tayong tidal project. Sana mapuntahan natin yan, yung BPX, yung tidal power project in Samar, Northern
Kapul.
Samar. Puntahan natin, 2025 daw yung
Sige.
expected deployment. Pasyalan natin.
Eksakto yan pag nila, inauguration.
Coordinate tayo kay Sir Genesis para makaano
Yeah.
tayo ng
Invite mo kami sa National, Sir Genesis.
Puntahan natin.
Para naman makita
Check natin.
namin.
Ito, tapos na to yung kay Sir Giancarlo.
Pwede magtanong.
Sige
O
po,
si Sir Domi.
Related to sa tidal river, palagi na naman binabanggit yung current, ibang sea current na gagamitin. Yan ba yun?
Yes.
Sea current.
Yes po, sir. Yung sa tidal, sir. Apo.
Sea current, ang sabihin, the turbine is underwater.
Yes.
It operates depending on the flow of seawater current. reversing
Yes.
yun eh. Kung
Yes,
nag-low
sir.
tide, baliktad. Pag baba, babalik ang,
Babalik.
oo. Diyan kasi sa, itong Tanyon Street, it's between Samar,
Ah,
Northern Samar and Southern Sorsogon.
baka kaya doon sir nilagay sa Samar. Mas maganda potential
Oo.
nila.
Yan. Yan eh, kung mag-imbita sana yung proponent to na I would like to see whether online or
Yan.
what. Kaya matagal na namang binabanggit yung seawater current eh.
Yes, sir.
Kaya hindi apektado masyado sa sea turbulence. Ang maapektuhan lang yung structure doon. Salamat, magandang balita yun na mayroon na palang nagsisimulang project. Kami mga engineers of 60 years ago, pinag-usapan namin yan. Ngayon may narinig na akong in our senior years. May narinig
Yes, sir.
na akong,
Sa 2025 daw sir, meron na. So, hopefully sir, ano natin.
purihin ng Panginoon, mayroon na pala. I think in
Opo.
my lifetime makikita ko yun.
Sama tayo sir. Sir
Oo.
Tommy, yung sa summer.
Salamat sa presentation mo na at least itong floating solar na binabanggit nung araw eh. Maski wala pang solar, sabi ko, ano kaya kung that was in 1960 po, mga siguro before 1970, ano kaya kung ma-harness natin yung lakas ng araw, saka lakas ng
Opo.
kamutik na nga ako malunod sa sea current eh. Pinangay ko ng sea current eh. Sa Mindanao. Ay ngayon, I'm seeing yung bang engineering development, how to harness this energies surrounding our Philippine archipelago. Ang next, kung maukan in my lifetime, yung how we can utilize the, somewhere in Surigao, ano ba yun? This gas, deuterium.
Ah,
I hope I will hear something about that.
hopefully sir, dito sa Thursday Delight in the future.
Oo.
May mga ganun presentations there.
I mean, I'll just be hearing about it. That is an engineering enterprise with so many things unknown.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yung to harness the power of deuterium. Ayaw ko kung may sekreto ng US dyan. Hindi lang nire-reveal.
Yes, sir.
Sige, thank you very much.
Thank you po. Ito po, konti na lang po ito. Kay Sir Abner, are bifacial modules ideal for floating solar? Sir, meron kaming pinuntahan na isang floating solar sa Singapore. Ang gamit po nila, sir, bifacial. So they are saying na mas maganda, sir, yung naging niya, sir, yield niya using this bifacial. And they're saying na nakatulong din yun doon sa aquatic animal, sir, since may tumatago, sir, na kumbaga yung light na may light pa rin na napupunta, sir, doon sa ilalim ng floating solar. So they're saying na nakatulong pa siya, sir, doon sa ecosystem if you're using bifacial modules. Sir Julius, LCOE, sir, wala pa akong na-compute kasi, sir, eh. Tingnan natin, sir, in the future pag kami present ko sa inyo, sir. Pero hindi pa kasi ako, sir, nag-compute ng LCOE nito. Pero, sir, based doon sa discussion, medyo expensive yung floating, eh. So I will say, sir, na sa ground mounted pa din tayo. Pero siguro yung additional cost na yun, baka naman mababawi ng floating in terms of other advantages niya. Okay. Tapos na. Thank you na. Ito kay Sir Adrian Teves. Does rule of thumb that 1 hectare is equivalent to 1 megawatt for ground-mounted utility PV applies for higher since higher efficiency? If higher, how much is the ratio? Sir, right now, I would like to say na yung 1 hectare per megawatt natin, sir, is no longer applicable simply because ang tataas na, sir, nung capacity ng mga panels natin. Right now, you can install but peak capacity with less than 1 hectare of land eh. So yun yung ano ngayon. So mas ano na sir, mas lumiliit na yung area na kailangan for yung capacity since malaki na sir yung naging development sir nung sa panel natin. Ayan. Yung kay sir, yung taga Samsel ko sir, chat na lang tayo later sir. Yung kasi niya kasi sa ano. Ito yung tanong na rin. Okay. I think BPX nasagot na natin. Ito po kay Sir Jojo. Paano mag-maintenance niyan every what period at paano pagpunta sa site? Kailangan mag-boot? Paano kung may bagyo? Hindi kaya ma-destroy yan, durable ba materials niyan? For the maintenance, sir, since solar, sir, pinag-usapan natin, ang solar talaga, sir, is once a month maintenance or even every other month maintenance activity yung ginagawa natin, depending dun sa environmental condition. Yes, sir, kailangan naka-boat. Kaya nga, sir, kailangan siguraduhin natin na yung ating materials na gagamitin, yung anchoring, yung mooring natin, floating materials natin, yung installation natin, can withstand yung environmental conditions ng project natin. So, kaya kanina sinasabi ko yung importance nung magkaroon tayo ng standard for the Philippines kasi iba yung environmental conditions natin dito compared to other countries. Okay. Yan.
Wala na ba?
Wala na po. Ito may mga binigay lang na link si Sir Joji para iso yung summer tidal plant. Ayan yung tungkol sa sa tidal.
Ako magla-lunch na ha.
Lunch na po ba dyan?
O lunch na.
Paano daw ako? I-search na lang po ako sa Facebook. You can easily find me.
Sabay tayo, Ma'am Chihan.
Ano naman
Sir?
po,
Sabay tayo, hindi pa ko kumain.
Oo. Sabay tayo. Share mo yung food mo sa akin, Sir Domi.
Ay, hindi ako.
BPX na,
Sabi
tapos ko na.
sabi ng apo ko, ay Lulu, hindi abot. Eh, nandun sa Canada, eh, paano maabot?
Ito, BPX, may question si Sir Rodelio Valdez. Regarding standards of floating solar, we can have two types of location, lake at offshore for sea. Yan, may mga bathymetry reference na ba tayo in consideration sa sea movement? I know for some areas there meron na but not all. Yun lang sir yung problem. Yung availability ng data. So for a project, especially yung mga malalaki, you need to really invest time and money for the data gathering. Kailangan kasi nating ma-check talaga yung topography and other conditions dun sa ilalim ng dagat o tubig.
O
So,
nasa floating solar pa lang tayo. Dapat ine-explore na rin natin yung offshore wind.
Opo, yun isa pa yun. Isa pa po yun. Okay. Okay na, BPX. So, I think nasagot naman natin. But if may mga hindi masyadong malinaw, I can be easily naman na i-chat. If you have Facebook Messenger, hanapin nyo lang po ako doon. Or check nyo kay BPX, yan. Common friend naman natin yan pagka sa Facebook.
Sige. Basta mag-message lang kayo, pwede naman kayo magtanong anytime, no?
Opo. Iba talaga pagka Thursday Delight, iba yung
Kwanto.
yung dito, yung
Open
interaction.
kasi rito eh. Yeah.
Opo.
Yun yung gusto ng iba, open ng interaction. It's not just one way but two-way ang learning dito. Not just coming from the speaker, meron ding mga participants talaga na they try to share the information na alam nila. No? So Dan, mag-award na tayo ng certificate. Andyan ka pa ba, Dan?
Na si BPX, lugi tayo eh.
Oo, lunch ko pa lang eh.
Lunch pa lang pala. Oh.
Hindi na nga ako
Kamusta naman
nakapag-breakfast
sa
eh.
Abu Dhabi? Hindi na po ba ano po?
Wala,
Hindi na po maulan?
nag-hailstorm.
Hailstorm? Oh, good.
Pero biglang lumamig kahapon eh. Naglakad
Ah,
ako. Ang grabe yung wind
nice weather
kahapon.
po.
Kaya umakyat ulit ako. Kasi grabing lamig.
Alright po.
Ayan.
Enjoy po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yan, ito ulit si Northern Laguna. Gusto ko ipaalam sa lahat talaga na ito yung talagang first ever na nakakuha ng Hall of Fame from IIE National. The first
Congrats
ever
po.
chapter, yan, na nakakuha ng 5 most outstanding. The first chapter na nakakuha ng Platinum Award. So
Yeah.
lahat nasa Northern Laguna yan. Pero ngayon, hindi na kami nagvavie to get awards, but always we maintain the service that we give to the members. So again, Gov Adrian, please receive the certificate of appreciation coming from our humble chapter. Humble eh. After na nagyabang, naging humble tuloy eh, no? Coming from the humble chapter of Northern Laguna, given this 22nd day of February for sharing your technical expertise on the topic floating solar PV standards development in the Philippines. So guys, this is a development. So stay tuned. For a few months, we'll be having Gov Adrian again to be with us to give us some
Yes, po.
developments of these
Yeah.
standards. Okay, so it is a continuous development when it comes to floating solar kasi it's just new to us. So kailangan nating mapag-aralan ng mabuti. As I've said a while ago, we have also to explore yung offshore wind din natin kasi tinitignan na yan ng government. I think uunahin nila sa parteng Ilocos yung project na yan. So, again, receive this certificate signed by Anthony Jefferson, the VP Technical of the chapter, Reginald Castillo, the chapter president, Rodelito Madalo, one of the proponents of yours truly, one of the proponents of this Thursday Delight, running since May of 2020. Again, thank you for always joining us sa pagiging suki ninyo sa Thursday Delight. And see you again next week for another topic. Hindi ko papasabi kasi maghahanap pa kami ng speaker.